Marjorie Taylor Greene has gone on to a full white supremacist conference. So, take a look at this video.
This one organized by an avowed white supremacist called the America First Political Action Conference. You could call it a fringe gathering, except for the fact that 2 sitting members of Congress were a part of it. Republicans Paul Gosar of Arizona and Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. Now listen to what Nick Fuentes, the anti-Semitic white nationalist leader of the conference, said just before introducing his special guest, Congresswoman Greene.
And you want to know the secret? To borrow a phrase from a friend of mine, our secret sauce here, it's these young white men. That's what we call the secret ingredient. America and the world has forgotten about them, but not us. You know, they say about America, they say, diversity is our strength, you know. And I look at China and I look at Russia. Can we give a round of applause for Russia? Yes. Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, that's the podium that Marjorie Taylor Greene then appeared at. And today, she started feeling the heat. She tried to pretend she had no idea who the white supremacist guy was or what he stood for. But you can see from her speech, right after his, that she knew exactly where she was.
You know what it's like to be canceled. And that's why I'm here to talk to you tonight. I don't believe anyone should be canceled. I don't believe in separating people in identities. I don't believe in separating people in classes, but that's what the Democrats believe in because that's what Marxism is. That's what communism is.
And members of the conservative movement are now, well, they have been for a while, but at this place explicitly normalizing white supremacy. They're in a venue with the leader expressing explicit solidarity with Vladimir Putin as he launches an offense that has shocked the world's conscience. At the same time, and this is a sort of weird aspect of the ideological moment, many Republicans, conservatives are seeing, well, this is all Joe Biden's fault. It wouldn't have happened on Donald Trump's watch. And here's the thing. They're probably right. That's next.
Why don't we get a full denouncement of these people with distancing themselves from the Republicans that participate in these events? Because this is the base of the Republican Party. Those racist, bigot, Nazis, KKK members, Proud Boys, and Western chauvinists, no matter how they reframe the Nazis, that is the base of the Republican Party. Get it? White men forgotten? It should be noted that this is so stupid, it should be disqualifying. How can anyone believe this? There was a study that showed that when women get up to 30-40% of people in a room, men like this freak out and think they're surrounded by women, and they're over 50% because they are weak. Why doesn't the media hold her accountable? This is just an example of how stupid the Republicans are and how racist they are. I don't know what other evidence you need. Maybe her screaming about a Jewish space laser? It wasn't just a single Republican that no one likes. How about Idaho's Lieutenant Governor, McGretchen? Check out this video.
But I want to say it very clearly and very directly. I believe this election was stolen from Donald J. Trump.
I will never, ever apologize for objecting to an unconstitutional election in November of 2020.
President Trump was right. The Clintons spied on him.
They were trying to censor us, silence us, cancel us, muzzle us. In fact, they had just told me that because I stood up and objected on January 6th, that I ought to be run out of the United States Senate. I've got news for you. I wasn't backing down then. I haven't changed my mind now.
Such a tough guy, that Josh Hawley. Those are the Republican stars of this weekend event known as CPAC, firmly planted in an entirely alternate universe of the big lie cult. And while the MAGA rally atmosphere has become the mainstream for the Republican Party, it's all essentially interchangeable, the real vanguard of the conservative movement was at a competing adjacent event. This one organized by an avowed white supremacist called the America First Political Action Conference. You could call it a fringe gathering, except for the fact that 2 sitting members of Congress were a part of it. Republicans Paul Gosar of Arizona and Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. Now listen to what Nick Fuentes, the anti-Semitic white nationalist leader of the conference, said just before introducing his special guest, Congresswoman Greene.
And you want to know the secret? To borrow a phrase from a friend of mine, our secret sauce here, it's these young white men.
The Republicans think these people are horrible, but since it's the base of their party, only a few of them speak out. This is the same people taking away abortion rights, and the fact that in a year's time, if Gretchen has power, they are more than willing to ignore this and allow her to stay in the party. And if we need more proof this conference has always been for bigots, how about a little video from last year?
Arizona Republicans are taking some heat tonight, but not for something said or done. It's because they're staying silent.
None of them has spoken out about Congressman Paul Gosar attending a white nationalist event 2 weeks ago. Our political editor, Dennis Welch, tried to press them for answers.
And in the past, an elected official attending an event like this would have been immediately and widely condemned, but not this time, as Republicans are choosing to stay silent, including Republican Governor Doug Ducey, who spoke very bluntly about his thoughts on race just last year.
One of the questions that was asked of me at the meeting is if I thought racism was a sin. And I said, of course it is a sin.
That was Arizona Governor Doug Ducey in June recounting a discussion he had with local faith leaders.
American patriots now carry the torch.
But in the 2 weeks since Republican Congressman Paul Gosar spoke at a white nationalist event headlined by Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes, who said this:
"White people are done being bullied."
Ducey has declined repeated requests to comment.
When you have the responsibility of an elected office, you have also the responsibility to speak for those who do not have a voice.
Reverend Reginald Walton said the governor's continued silence normalizes white nationalism. But Ducey is not the only high-ranking Republican who's kept quiet on Gosar. We've reached out to Attorney General Mark Brnovich, State Treasurer Kimberly Yee, and Republican congressional representatives Andy Biggs, Debbie Lesko, and David Schweikert, and they have not responded.
It's sad that no one in the GOP would be bold and brave enough to say, Congressman Gosar, you are wrong for going to this meeting. This is not who we are. This is not acceptable.
And I have reached out to some political consultants and asked them why Republicans are choosing to stay silent. Now, they offered very different opinions, but one consistent was that they believe that Republicans don't see that any criticism will change Gosar's behavior. In Phoenix, Dennis Welch, Arizona's Family.
So if you like those videos, please help. The YouTube algorithm is horribly biased against, progressives. And the Republicans have massive amounts of money just to buy it off. So every time you like, every time you put a comment down below, helps us out. So like, subscribe, and if you really want to help the environment, down below is a link to a GoFundMe page where it has a brand new power generation that is 0% carbon emission and one of the cheapest productions of electricity the world has ever had. So go down, help us out.